Welcome in to another week of the Stadium Experience. I'm Jake Elmsley. Jordan Moment here alongside me. And depending on what platform you're watching this on, you might have realized that this is the first ever video paired with visual behind the looking glass seeing us episode of the Stadium Experience. That's right. We've added a video component here, so you can find that on the YouTube I have yet to create. It'll probably just be the Stadium Experience YouTube. The TikTok I have yet to create, and most likely on my own personal Instagram, Jake_Elmsley. I had to check quick. I don't remember what my Instagram handle is. But
you tell me the Stadium Experience doesn't have an Instagram?
No. Maybe we'll make one. I don't know yet. I haven't made the accounts yet. I wanted to get the content. I thought it would be a little bit. I thought it might jinx me if I make the accounts before I get the content. You know, that's probably a bad idea. But I mean, Jordan, do you have anything to say to the people now that they can that some of them can see you live in the flesh?
Yes. So this is our multi-million-dollar production.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Jake coming to you live from a poor imitation of Jerry Jones' bunker during
Absolutely.
the 2021 draft, and
Absolutely.
then me in Brighton, Massachusetts.
I have a team of 1,000 standing right behind me. Jordan has about.
You can see my hats in the background.
That's good. Those are very important. Of course, only for some people though. Again, if you're listening to us on Spotify or iTunes, thank you, but you can't see us, so that may be a detriment. That may be a advantage. I don't know what you're into. I don't know how you care for us, but there you go. Where
you can like mold faces out of clay, like the girl in the Lionel Richie video.
Exactly. So that's us. We're live, and you can see us. Another thing that's visual on the physical plane has been Patriots training camp, which, again, last week we came on. We talked about a lot of the negative stuff, a lot of the negative reports about the offense not looking good, not the defense looking good, but most of it hinged on the offense looking very poor, the O-line not functioning, Mac having a tough time, but now that we have a preseason game behind us, the Patriots have had now 2 days of joint practices with the Carolina Panthers the last couple days. Reportedly, things are continuing to, at the very least, follow an upward trajectory. The reports out of camp, especially like after the preseason game, which did not look like an abject disaster, which was my biggest fear. Not that a lot of the starters played, but that didn't look like a disaster. And so far, the Patriots have looked fairly good offensively in camp. There have still been stumbles. There are some reports from like Alex Barth mentioned that like Mac Jones, there have been points when Mac's been sped up. I know that Tuesday, we're recording this on a Wednesday, we post on Thursday, but Tuesday Mac had a really bad interception that came when he was kind of running around in the backfield and had to heave one up. But so there have been bad spots, but things have reportedly looked better. Also, what they've looked like though, Jordan, is what's an adjective for fights?
They've been a little scrappy.
There's been a lot of fights at camp. There's been like 4 different fights in like 2 days between the Panthers and the Patriots, who are apparently the greatest rivals of all time. And apparently have a massive amount of beef with each other. I don't know if it's anything to do with the Brian Burns, Mac Jones situation, if that's been the entire thing. But either way, they've been fighting here, they've been fighting there. Like, players have been like falling onto the Panthers sidelines, and like coaches have been shoving them, and then they've been getting into fights, and then like I think Christian Wilkerson got knocked down at one point, and like some dude was standing over him. Then that led to like a 25-person brawl. And then dudes have been getting kicked out. So I don't really know what to make of it. I don't even know if it's really means anything, Jordan. Do you think it means anything? Is there any deeper meaning behind the 90 different fights that have happened in the last couple weeks? in the last 2 days at Patriots
let
camp.
me, like I can reach in, pull out my grizzled sports vets take.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, these guys, they're showing a lot of passion.
Mm-hmm.
They're leaving it all on the field, a lot of emotion.
Mm-hmm.
They're sticking up for each other, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know. Dudes are they're just beefing and fighting. Why, I don't know. But they just are.
It's that intense AFC East, NFC South rivalry.
Yeah, I guess this is just. I mean, this is the first time I've ever really been hearing about it to like this degree, but.
Like it's definitely a lot. Like it's more than like a normal amount. Like I've been to joint practices before. Like there's more fights than like a normal amount of fights in a joint practice. I think
just because like the sports cycle is slow, media is sort of just honing in on the joint practices, because I was hearing similar things out of the Packers Saints joint practice and a few other places.
Because I was seeing like Mike Reese saying like, "Oh no, it's never been this bad. This is getting to a point where like it might not be overly productive." But maybe okay. Here I have a theory. I already formed a theory, Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Panthers are very upset that the Patriots sent Brady to their division.
And that might be it.
They're like, we had easy living for a long time. We had the Buccaneers. They were just the Buccaneers. They were nothing. They were a laughing stock. They were one of the losingest franchises of all time. But then you folks, your coach over there, couldn't swallow his pride and give that man a contract that he wanted. So now he comes marching into our division. And now do we have to play twice a year? We got an actual bona fide Super Bowl contender in our division.
Yeah.
And we're gonna take it out on you. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, the Bucks without Brady are still probably the best team in that division.
Probably still the best team with that division. Yeah, which I would say which is fair to say because the second team in that division is literally just a decently constructed team that has Jameis Winston on it. So yeah, I'm willing to make that leap very easily. But yeah, so I don't know if that's it, but they've been fighting. They've been scrapping. They've been brawling. They've been showing a lot of heart, showing a lot of energy. But otherwise, again, fairly good reviews for the Patriots from it. The offense has looked good. Again, they've said like there have been issues, but the important thing is that the offense is progressing. Has been the thing that I've read. I've read the run game still had a little bit of trouble. They're still kind of getting that worked again. The pass protection has still been spotty, which still possibly goes to the idea that the O-line is just still not really there, especially not with the rest of the offense. We talked about that last week. I don't know. Again, I have another outlandish, outside the box theory that maybe it has something to do with Matt Patricia being the O-line coach, but that's just probably insane clickbait, outlandish sports take guy. Probably nothing, but we'll put, which we talked last week. I want to offer an amendum. Last week we talked about, is it the O-line? Is it like the coaching from Patricia and Joe Judge? Completely forgot that Matt Patricia is actually just the O-line coach. So the answer to that either or is just a yes, but
bad all around.
There's been that. The defense has looked very good. That's kind of the other thing I wanted to talk about, because we didn't talk about the defense a lot last week. The defense has apparently looked great. The run defense, which you would think would be the thing that would be getting carved up in training camp with Christian McCaffrey, while he's still healthy, he's yet to go down. So for all you fantasy players out there, he's still playing. Nothing yet.
Gotta keep the hope alive.
Nothing yet on CMC. Let me tell you, nothing yet. Fingers crossed. You got the number 2 overall pick in your draft. He's still there, but apparently the Patriots did a very good job on him, which. Again, the run defense was their biggest gap last year, even when the defense was good. But they've been doing good in camp so far, which, maybe last week when I said maybe they just have the greatest defense of all time, and that's why the offense is struggling, maybe that was true. But the run defense has looked good. They've been doing a good job on McCaffrey. Even described as dominant by some, but they've done a good job with that. Apparently. For whatever reason, the thing I've been reading constantly has been like Jalen Mills. It's fire. Jalen Mills propaganda, I guess would be a word. Been reading a lot of positive stuff up, a lot of smoke being blown up the behind of Mr. General Mills himself. But so there's your number one corner, Patriots fans. Get excited. But no J.C. Jackson, but baby, we have the guy who played next to him last year, who was already being probably a little bit overutilized as a second corner, is now your number one corner.
That's progression.
But Jalen Mills has just been looking great against that dynamite Packers passing game. But Jalen Mills has been looking okay, and that quarterback depth chart still is real sussy. Real sussy. Not again, on paper, not looking good. But again, we'll continue to say positives. We're saying positives right now. I've been reading good things about Marcus Jones and Jack Jones, the third round and fourth round rookie that they drafted, both corners. They've been looking good, which is nice. Maybe they hit on a cornerback in the draft. But they've been reading good things. A lot of Jonathan Jones playing on the outside. But the big cornerback news, as I'm just kind of doing a big roundup, because I don't have any grandiose takes like I did last week about the Patriots. Although I'm just kind of trying to just kind of wrap around everything. The big news out of there has been that Malcolm Butler's on IR, so he's going to be missing the whole year. It's a whole year IR kind of situation. Malcolm Butler's out for the year, and I got to say, I'm definitely less concerned about that. Like, it definitely does not bother me nearly as much as it would have, like, at the beginning, like, coming into the offseason. Because, again, like, Malcolm Butler hasn't been playing as one of their starting corners. Like, he really hasn't been one of their key guys, at least, like, in practice. It's been, like, a lot of Terrence Mitchell, who, to me, is at least on, like, in, like, the same echelon of Malcolm Butler at this point, is just, like, veteran corner that they brought in. This offseason when they lost J.C. Jackson and have now just been throwing as many darts as possible at corner, bringing Terrence Mitchell. Did I say Malcolm Mitchell?
You did say Malcolm Mitchell.
Ah, God. Forever in our hearts. But bringing in Malcolm Butler, bringing in Terrence Mitchell, drafting two guys. They're trying in every way besides just, signing your number one corner that you drafted and developed yourself in J.C. Jackson. But whatever. Jonathan Jones has been playing outside a lot. He's come back. That's something that they might be exploring, is like 5'8" Jonathan Jones being an outside corner, which
I don't like the idea of that.
I'm not sure I love, but that's something that they're exploring. Excuse me, 5'10" Jonathan Jones. But, for the great slot corner, Jonathan Jones didn't play last year. He was hurt, but he's back now. A lot of him on the outside, which at first a lot of people were saying, like, no. They're just like first couple days of camp. You're putting guys at a bunch of different spots just to get him some reps, let him learn, like, that way in case he has to step in there, he can. It's been like the whole camp. We're still here, so that's maybe you can make that work against like a Tyreek Hill or something, like a smaller guy. Not saying caliber of receiver. I'm saying like size of receiver. We're speaking purely from a vertical perspective here.
Okay.
But I'm hoping the plan is like when they come up against like a big man, a taller fella. We'll call him that. The plan isn't to trot Jonathan.
Dudes of a Cooper Kupp stature.
I hope the plan isn't to put John. Again, love Jonathan Jones, great player, real good at what he does. But I hope he's not there for the big guys. But anyway, then again, in your division, Tyreek Hill, not super tall. Stephon Diggs, a little bit taller, still only a 6-footer though. He's not a huge guy. Maybe that there's some kind of thinking there, but either way, I gotta tell you again, like there's a what I'm saying is, to get back to the Malcolm Butler thing, like there's a permutation of this where maybe Malcolm Butler didn't make the team. Like it seems like he's competing for a roster spot with like three other guys. And I don't know. Do you think that Malcolm Butler is a big loss, Jordan?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I'm not quite sure how many corners they have on the roster right now, but I think just for depth, or maybe you want to run some fancy wanty package, and you might want to have an extra corner, maybe have two guys play the nickel. I mean, you can
call it a dime, Jordan.
A good reason to keep around an extra corner.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like I said, he's like assuming that he can come back and play, because obviously there's also the chance that he comes out of a year of retirement and can't play. But I've always been a big Malcolm Butler guy. I've always been a Malcolm Butler apologist, like even going back to like his last year in New England where he was not all that good. But nevertheless,
I don't think it would hurt.
No.
That's my point.
No, it wouldn't either. But again, I'm saying like coming into the offseason, I was like, okay, like Malcolm Butler, like they kind of need like him to like be like a representative starting cornerback for this defense, for the secondary to have any chance. Just looking at the depth chart, but now a little bit removed from it. Some of these other guys have looked better than I thought. Terrence Mitchell looked okay. Again, both the rookies, the Joneses, the Joneses. They're looking pretty good. So, that's 5 corners right there. And maybe they can get by without a Malcolm Butler. I don't know. Or they're going to go up against the passing offense that isn't the Giants in the preseason game and the Panthers in joint practices and get lit up. I don't know. Probably. Maybe not.
We'll see what Lamar does to them week 3. That'll be the test.
Still leaning towards it. Still leaning towards probably not the good. Oh, you want to talk about Lamar in week 3? Let's talk about Tyreek Hill week 1. Like,
oh yeah.
Let's put this like Jonathan Jones on the outside against Tyreek Hill to the test thing week 1. Like,
I mean, baptism by fire. That's what you're playing twice a year, maybe 3 times a year.
Let's put it to the test week 1. You give me week 2 against the Steelers with your man George Pickens.
Hey man, I am a George Pickens enjoyer. huge supporter.
But you
might do all right against the Packers and their tremendous wide receiver core.
I was gonna say, actually looking at the Patriots, like the first half of their season, they actually have a pretty easy run of at least quarterback wise. Week 1 you're playing Tua. Week 2 you're probably playing Mitch. Week 3 you got Lamar. Week 4 you got Aaron Rodgers. But then week 5 you got Jared Goff. Week 6 you got Jacoby Brissett. Week 7 you got the Bears. And
Justin Fields.
In week 8 you got maybe Zach Wilson.
Poor dude.
You got maybe Zach Wilson, who's like surgery went pretty good, or if that gets a setback, maybe Mr. Flacco. But at the very least, maybe the secondary gets kind of a soft landing to start. I don't know. It's all good stuff. We're saying good stuff. A lot of good stuff coming out of camp. It's coming from people who I would trust to say the bad stuff. So, at the very least, like if we're putting the meter on screen, which I'm not going to do in post, for the visual component of the stadium experience, we're now from a threat level midnight to like a threat level I don't know like 8:45 in the evening.
Seems about right.
Like better. Again they're evening it out. And again I say this, I'll keep saying it, since we reacted to the negative stuff. We really reacted to the negative stuff. We put stock in it. We talked about it. I'll put stock and talk about the positive. That's the only fair thing to do. I know you're shaking your head, Jordan. I know you're doom and gloom about the Patriots this year. And I can't blame you. I can't blame you for it. But these are kind of it's kind of a wrap up. Again, only we don't have a ton of stuff right now other than like, oh God, Patricia's going to be the OC. Or maybe Joe Judge they're still playing games about the play calling, which is really fun. I got to say, I love that. They're really keeping me and you, Jordan. By me and you, I mean opposing teams and coaches who are like panicking, trying to figure out who's going to be the play caller for the Patriots. It's really affecting their game plan.
You know what, Jake? I think I have a hot take for you.
Oh, okay. You got a certified sports take?
Yeah, I don't think it matters who's the offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Because they're both terrible.
Oh, you don't think it matters who the play caller is? You don't think that?
No.
You don't think that teams having to do that extra prep on Matt Patricia? Matt Patricia play calling tendencies versus Joe Judge play calling tendencies will take away
Whoa.
just enough from their preparation that it lets the Patriots kind of get advantage. You don't think that's going to be a factor, Jordan? I think you don't know football. If you think that
Joe Judge has any play calling tendencies,
he certainly has to have something. I'm sure if we did the horror of going back and watching like the last 2.5 years of Giants offense, we'd find tendencies.
It'd be throw Daniel Jones.
Well,
and
well, actually, Jordan.
Who's their running back?
Well, no, Jordan. It's Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
But actually, Jordan. Well, let me put you this. Actually, Belichick's actually going even further. We're idiots. We're fools. We were just talking about their play calling tendencies. Neither of these guys have ever called offensive plays. Actually, now that they didn't even call the offensive plays. So actually, Belichick is playing 5D chess by, instead of doing the beta virgin move of bringing an established play caller with experience running the type of offense we want to run like an idiot. He's bringing in two guys. One has maybe a year of experience on the offensive side of the ball, coaching wise. One allegedly played quarterback like in college a little bit, but otherwise been a special team guy his whole career. You bring them in, then there's no tape on their play calling tendencies, and then you have them install a brand new offense that neither of them have ever run.
Sit down, Bill O'Brien. Your services are not needed.
Jordan, I'm really glad you said that because that was something else I wanted to mention. I thought about this like 5 minutes after we started recording last week, and I was really mad at myself. How much better would we be feeling now if they just somehow find a way to finagle Bill O'Brien being in here?
I feel a lot better.
Which I advocated for, did I not? We talked. You kind of laughed at me. You're like, "Oh, Bill O'Brien." I'm like, "I'm telling you, it'll be fine." Like, it's not that. It's still just like bringing back his old. Like, it's still Bill Belichick bringing back all of his old coaches who failed somewhere else. But at least you're bringing him back.
You would have told me the alternatives.
At least you're bringing him back to do the thing that he's good at. Let me tell you, I was all in on the bring Bill O'Brien back train. And we weren't recording that, but I thought about that, and I'm like, this would be so much better. Every single thing would you'd have to feel. You couldn't possibly feel worse than you do now. You couldn't possibly. You'd be like, oh man, Bill O'Brien. Like, maybe we'd be saying like, oh, maybe you could have like found somebody new. Maybe like go dig up like find like a McVay assistant, like just somebody with some new ideas, somebody with a fresh perspective. Bring him in. We'd probably be saying that. We'd be having that conversation. We wouldn't be having this conversation where we spend 15 minutes taking a really long time explaining the fact that neither of these guys have any idea how to call plays offensively, and I've never done it. But oh yeah, no, God, I'm so glad you brought that up because I almost forgot to mention it. Yeah, I know. Like if Bill O'Brien was here, we're at like threat level like 3 p.m. Because right now the entire conversation around this team is what the hell are they doing on the offense? But maybe Bill O'Brien wouldn't come back unless they made him the coordinator, and Bill Belichick has declared war on coordinators.
He has abandonment issues.
It's real possible. So
he's been hurt so many times that he just can't trust.
It's true.
Another offensive coordinator to come into his life,
or really, defensive coordinator.
Really have him open up and be vulnerable and have a pure connection with them, because he's scared they're just going to leave him again.
And that's why he brings them all back.
Ones.
And that's why he brings them all back when they leave.
He brings back all his toxic exes that were no good for him and no good for anyone else. It's a real vicious cycle Bill Belichick's in.
It is. You're laughing, but it's true. It's what he's doing. It's what he's doing. Like it's literally what we're like. No. Like yeah. Listen, Bill. Like O'Brien, he forgot your birthday. Like O'Brien, like he wouldn't text you while he was out with while he was out with his friends, and wouldn't tell you that when he got home. He'd leave you on red sometimes. A lot of bad stuff. We get it, Bill. He's been kind of floundering since he left you, but come on, he doesn't treat you like Matt. Come on, Matt's a real bastard. Matt's gaslighting you on the reg. Bill just had some growing up to do. O'Brien, he just had some growing up to do. It's real hard to do this bit. But yeah, no, my God, yeah. Can they get him back now? Like, can they just get him out of like that Alabama contract?
It might be a little bit too late now.
I'm not leaving that if I'm him to come do this. If I'm Bill O'Brien,
absolutely not.
Honestly, but I mean, come on. Like, it would be so much better. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, we're sitting here like months later pining for Bill O'Brien, Jordan. And we're right to do so, I think. I think it's unabashedly like you're crazy if you say otherwise. If you say you would not feel better about this team if Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator, you're lying. You're lying, or you're not paying attention. If you're somebody who follows these things too closely, like I do, Jordan told me that we didn't need to talk about half of this, but I wanted to. I sent Jordan the rundown, and it was like 15 like bullet points of like Patriots camp minutia, and then he was like, "Hey, the college football rankings just came out. Do you want to talk about that too?" There's a lot of interesting national stuff, and I'm like, "Fine, just throw it on. Fine, we'll talk about it, whatever." And let me get back to reading my like 5th camp report of the day. Jesus Christ. Fine. I'll go back to watching my Jack Jones tape. Who's gonna be their backup slot corner, Jordan? This is what we got to discuss. But yeah. I'm really glad you mentioned that, because I was thinking about literally it was like either right after we started recording or like the next morning when I was driving around. I was like, there's a Bill O'Brien angle. There was an angle on this. We didn't take it. But we just did. And we love talking about Bill O'Brien on this show.
He is a favorite.
He's a star, honestly. But yeah, no. Please come back, Bill. Please, Bill. We didn't realize how good we had it. We swear we'll change. We won't bother you anymore. We won't be so needy, Bill. We swear, Bill. We're gonna. You're right. We're crazy. Okay, you're right. Our friends, they're toxic. They're mean. They make us do bad things. We'll stop. We won't go out with our friends anymore. We swear, Bill. Okay. We promise. We love you. Okay.
So you're the only person to ever make me happy, Bill O'Brien. Without you, life just has no meaning. It was
never about Josh. It was always about you, okay? God, I hope Josh McDaniels slams out with the Raiders. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed the Raiders go like 11 and like 20 over the next 2.5 years. And Josh can just come back. Please, buddy.
You never know about those Raiders.
I'm done believing that the Patriots are going to get new coaches. I'm beyond that. I'm not asking for the moon anymore. I'm assuming nobody new is going to come around. You know, like the closest we're going to get is like a Gerard Mayo becoming like a coaching candidate, and even that barely counts. Like I'm done expecting there to be new minds added to this, right? That's too much to ask. Just at least take the old minds and have them do the things. Like, I want a Judge to be the special teams guy. Nope. Second play caller, I guess. Maybe he's like being groomed to be the OC when Patricia becomes a head coach. Who knows?
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Let me tell you, baby. You looking forward to it yet, Jordan?
That's a fate worse than death.
No, it's very probable. It's not impossible. But
I mean, I think I'd take almost anything else.
You know what? You're gonna have a bad time then. You're gonna go to bed hungry then, buddy.
Can we bring Brian Flores back?
I wish they did it. I was rooting for it.
If he doesn't take over Mike Tomlin's job,
yeah, I was rooting for
4
it.
years.
Nope, they didn't. I was like, God, at least come on, just bring. If we're bringing everybody back, just bring back. He can be like the third defensive coordinator alongside Gerard Mayo and like both of your kids. Like I've stopped accepting that the Patriots will have anybody else come out of their system that is not former players, former coaches, or a Belichick spawn. That's it. That's the system now, baby. That's all it is. I'm not expecting them to go be like, hey, like wide receiver coach for the Rams. Like, why don't you come into our system? We'll give you a little more responsibility. You know, kind of a bright young mind, new ideas. We want to install a new offense. Nope, not hoping for any of it. So that's really all my thoughts, except for a lot of good Tyquan Thornton stuff. Been reading a lot of good stuff. Watched a nice video of him in a one-on-one. Caught a touchdown in the preseason game. Apparently had a lot of good grabs against the Panthers. Which is good.
Pretty good.
Which is good. Tyquan Thornton looking good. You know, maybe
good value.
Maybe the Patriots finally just hit on a wide. They have to hit eventually. Like it feels like with the amount of good receivers that come out of every draft now. If you keep taking shots, they've just got to accidentally get one right at some point, right? Even if you don't believe in Belichick's ability to draft wide receivers, which you're a fool if you don't believe in it. How could you not believe in it? But even if for whatever reason you don't, it just has to be a numbers game at some point, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're just drafting dudes who are relatively considered to be top 2-3 round picks, you gotta get somebody eventually, right? Maybe they finally did. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. Other than that, and final Patriots thoughts. I like, the joint practices are important. They're good. You could do all types of situations. It kind of makes the fact they even have a preseason game against the same team kind of weird. I got to be honest. As much as I'm a preseason apologist, I will say the fact that you practice with the team for 3 days in a way that is probably more is pretty easy to say more valuable than the preseason game itself, because obviously in a joint practice you can run any situation you want you can in a normal practice, but instead you're playing against an actual other team. You can run any situation you want. You just be like, hey, we want to do a 2-minute drill, but we're on the 50 and we have one timeout. Let's run through that. We want to do we got to go 80 yards in 30 seconds. You can concoct any scenario you want, and that's part of the value of these joint practices. It's kind of weird that you do all that, and then you also then just play a random preseason game that Friday.
They should just do that instead of the preseason games.
I understand why everybody under the sun comes out and is oh yeah, the joint practices is where the real work gets done, and also where all the real fighting gets done. But I don't know. Any final wrap up Patriots thoughts, Jordan? If you don't have them, you don't have to try and find one. I'll forgive you.
We'll see. We'll see when the season begins. We'll see how they play this first month. September will determine a lot of their season.
Mm-hmm.
If they go by 2-2, 3-1, if they're 1-3, or heaven forbids 0-4, not good.
We start pining for we start pining for Bill O'Brien even more. I'm willing to begin that process, Jordan. I'm willing to officially get on my hands and knees and begin the Bill O'Brien pining process. But
2-2 is the most likely outcome, because they're probably not beating the Dolphins, because why would they? And then they're definitely not beating the Ravens.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see when we get there. But that's everything on the Patriots. Again, kind of just a scattered amount of takes. But next, I never know how to transition sometimes. So an article that came out on Monday in GQ that something that was, I feel, tailor-made to discuss on this show, Jordan. I feel like this is very, very much in our specific wheelhouse, a niche that we have yet to find the audience for, quite frankly, which is the intersection of a biting, very analytical, very intelligent, I say, sports talk, and random memeing about anime.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever falls into that Venn diagram, someone falls in that niche. And that is an article in GQ, which is titled, the title of the article is How Naruto Helped Zion Williamson Through the Toughest Year of His Career. And the article is in fact about how apparently Zion Williamson, currently of the New Orleans Pelicans, is a very, very big fan of Naruto, which I did not realize that he has a shoe line based around it. But the entire article is of him going to, I believe it was a Comic-Con, and he was on the panel about Naruto. And it's just this whole article is just all about how Zion loves Naruto, how it's helped him get through this past year where he's been hurt and then he's been fat and he's gotten hurt again because he weighs too much and then trying to lose weight and that being a whole struggle. He's been been talking about how important Naruto is to him, and This article has a quote, Jordan, that I told you not to read the article because I want to read it to you myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that is as follows.
Okay.
It's talking about Zion and his shoes, like his new again Naruto line of shoes, which look pretty good, a lot of them. But the quote is, NBA players often use sneakers to carry what matters to them on the court. Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics famously writes his son Deuce's name on every pair of sneakers he plays in. International players will take the court in player edition of their country's colors. For Zion, finally getting to lace these shoes up this season holds a similar resonance. From what I've been through to get to where I am and what I go through to this day, he says, Naruto has always been there and always will be. Which, to me, I think Jordan really goes to the quintessential idea that I think everybody should live by, to which there are three important things in life, which are country, family, and anime.
Oh man,
This is a fantastic. I love this article. This article is incredible. Unironically, it's incredible. There's a photo. He's going up on the thing. He has a big Minato robe on. He gives his starting five, Jordan.
Okay.
Do you want to hear Zion's Naruto starting five?
Sure.
Okay. So these aren't listed with positions. So I'm just gonna go with the assumption that they're going 1 through the 5 based on the list.
Okay.
Okay. So the list is, you got Naruto at the 1. You got Itachi at the 2.
Okay. You
got Jiraiya at the 3.
Okay.
You got Minato at the 4.
Okay.
And at the 5 you got Hashirama.
Okay.
Which you're missing a lot of height because Naruto's 5'4". Did you know that? If you look up his official height, it's 5'4".
There's no way.
But I'm telling you, I'm telling you.
As a 12-year-old?
No, as an adult. No, he's 5'6", excuse me. He's 5'6" in Shippuden.
So
yeah, because everybody's short.
Else?
Everybody's short if you look up their official heights. From data books or whatever. Everybody's tiny.
Can we just scale that up by 6 inches?
Yeah, Sasuke is also everybody's short. Everybody's kind of tiny. But anyway, point is that's his starting 5. Which the thing I wanted to talk about, Jordan, the thing I wanted to kind of get onto with this is that after listing his starting 5, he says that he thinks that the first Hokage most resembles Jordan. Which, Jordan,
okay,
I disagree with, and can I tell you why?
Why do you disagree?
I think that the comp for the first Hokage should be Bill Russell. I just think that's the easiest. He laid the groundwork really far in the past from a lot of the current contenders, current greats in the game.
Uh-huh.
But fundamental, some people's GOAT, lot there, right? And you know what makes it even better?
What?
If the first Hokage is Bill Russell, that means that Madara can be Wilt.
Ooh.
Which also works extremely well because Wilt could never beat Bill Russell, not even once. Very talented, very good. Maybe had a bit of a selfish streak in him, held him back from achieving his full potential.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Also then, you then have to but then also it invites a discussion from not me, but from other people of how great was the first Hokage, how great really is Madara, when really you can argue they were just fighting plumbers in the first Shinobi World War.
They kind of were.
Izuna Uchiha, plumber. First Mizukage, kind of a plumber. Inoki, maybe a plumber.
I mean, they didn't really have. I mean, dudes back then, they weren't really hitting the way they do now.
The skill level was just so much different. It's just it's a lot to talk about. At least a lot of people argue that. I don't argue that. I fully push back on that. I think when you look at the greats of any era, they're great no matter who they were against, and they just had to win in their era. And my God, did they win their era? But I don't. I don't know. I just wanted to call Azuna Uchiha a plumber. Honestly, that was the entire genesis of that. I don't.
Nah, I respect that, but I don't know if I agree with his 1 through 5 listings because I don't think Hashirama should play the center.
Well, you see, what if he can summon the giant the giant Buddha statue though?
Maybe, but I mean I think he'd be more of a slasher. I think he should play the 3.
I don't like Jiraiya at the 3. Again, I don't know if these are listed positionally, but I'm just saying they are for the sake of the conversation.
I like Itachi at the 2 because Itachi would definitely be a spot up shooter.
Crafty, yep, real skillful.
He'll just stay in the corner. You know, you won't even notice he's shooting it.
Pick his spots,
You'll
absolutely.
see a whole bunch of crows.
Lot of off ball movement, just
Exactly.
slipping right behind you. You don't even see it. I don't
Definitely get lost in the rotation.
Absolutely. I don't love really just find his way behind your screens. Imagine like you see him in the corner, you see him get the ball thrown to him, you see him get in the corner, he goes to shoot it up, then he just points like over to the top of the arc and he disappears and he's actually there. He's actually got the ball at the top of the arc. But yeah, I don't know. I don't love Jiraiya at the 3, but I respect it. But anyway, for the sake of the metaphor, because I thought about this a lot today, I think actually Minato's Jordan, right? Minato's Jordan. Because then it goes, he's the great Naruto had to live up to.
Okay.
Right? He trained something of
Does
a
that make
successor.
Naruto LeBron.
Well, let me finish. Yes.
Okay.
It makes Naruto LeBron, but what it also makes, Jordan, it also makes Kakashi Kobe. Because he learned from Jordan. No, I'm serious. Because he learned from Jordan.
Okay.
Was one of the greats in his era and kind of kept the seat warm until Naruto was ready to assume the role of greatest in the world.
Okay.
It works. And that's as far as I went with it. The second I tried adding anything else to it, it blew up and I stopped. And I quit while I was ahead. And I think we should quit while we're ahead with this too. But the other extremely notable thing here in this article is that Zion estimates that around 80% of players in the NBA are into anime. But they just won't admit it. And that, I think, begs the question, Jordan. Since we're a sports talk show, and we like talking sports, I think the most important question to ask from that, for the discussion for this thing of how media intersects with culture and society and athletes' role in that, I think the most important question becomes, what's LeBron's favorite anime? And I have an answer.
Ooh, what is it?
So, I think the answer is, I think LeBron kind of just likes what's popular, right? LeBron just kind of feels like a guy, he doesn't, he likes to fit into the mainstream, I think, which is it worked out for him. It's smart for him. He wants to be as appealing to people as possible. So the image he's given out has been that the answer is probably just Dragon Ball or Naruto or something real basic, right? Nothing wrong with it, but I feel like LeBron has a very basic answer. However, Jordan, I think if asked, he will tell you the answer is Evangelion.
I was literally thinking of a way to make a joke about saying Kyrie's favorite anime is Evangelion.
You see, Kyrie's unironically is Evangelion, but he doesn't get it at all. Absolutely misses on it, makes it very obnoxious. LeBron tries to say it, not because he thinks it, but because he also wants the same kind of like weird intellectual clout. At least that's my answer. And again, if you are in the very, very, very small minority of people who this weird niche intersection of topics is for, you understand both sides of what we're saying, I think you'd agree. If you're not, I apologize for like the last 15 minutes. Well, I haven't even explained what Naruto is. But
I mean, ideally, like I'm fine with Naruto being the point. You definitely want Itachi at the 2.
Yeah. I don't
Hashirama
love
at the
Naruto at the
3.
point, honestly. I think that like Naruto should be the 3. You should have like Shikamaru
He
at the
should be
point. You should have like somebody more heady at the 1. Facilitating. You know.
Okay, all right, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Like get like Shikamaru at the 1.
Yeah.
You know?
I was going off of like just Zion's.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm contrasting.
Maybe like Minato can play the one because he can like
that's fine too. He's a smart guy.
He can move very fast. And the special kunai that no one else has.
Yeah. Why not? I'm rocking with that. But yeah. Anyway, so that's it. Zion and loves anime.
He can teleport the ball to people.
No, he puts a seal on it. Absolutely. You know, but yep, Zion just talks a lot about it. Talks about like just apparently he was like doing trivia at like this thing and he was just blowing people out of the water. Dudes like couldn't answer his questions. I'd like to have Zion on the show and see if he can stump me on some Naruto trivia. I got to be honest with you. I'd like to play one-on-one with Zion on that front, but no, he taught like it's a good like we're making fun, like we're not making fun of it. We're just kind of rambling about Naruto now. But he talks about like, you know, just another quote, as he's often done at difficult times. Zion turned to his favorite show for guidance. I asked him if there's a point in Naruto's story that he feels synonymous with where he is right now. He says his answer is immediate. He says, "Well, the point I'm at right now is where Sasuke went rogue." All of Naruto's friends and teammates came to him and they're like, dude, you have to make tough decisions if you really want to be Hokage. He's just talking, I don't know. He's just talking like I was having a tough time lately and he's struggling. And he just likes to see that reflected in somebody. I don't know. It's good. I'm happy with it. I'm genuinely happy to read this as somebody who sees quite a bit of value in somebody who likes anime. That's it. I'm happy. I'm glad Zion likes Naruto. That makes me happy because if he likes Naruto, I can like Naruto, and I hope maybe all these other NBA players can also like anime.
Zion walk up to
you know,
LaMelo the next time he saw him and said, "I'll inherit your hatred."
Exactly.
Every time the Pelicans play the Bulls.
Exactly. Like, yeah, and he's like, I don't know. He just talks about like damn, like Naruto had the weight of the world on his shoulders at 16, and so did I in a lot of ways. He's just like me. So, you know, good for Zion. Good article. Go read it on GQ. It's
Was he also fighting against a global terrorist organization?
Yeah, basically.
Trying to steal his demon creature sealed inside of him.
Yeah, probably basically. Same idea.
Who's the demon creature and who's the global
I don't know. Jen Jordan, I thought about these things a lot today and I couldn't come up with good answers. I'm trying hard not to get too bogged down in this. Because it would be.
Is the Akatsuki a metaphor for the
Duke Scouts?
The
NCAA.
modification of the black bodies by American sports.
Yeah, the NCAA, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. There's some meat on this bone, but we're not going to go into it. But
we could.
And if these were the old days, would this turned into like an hour right now?
We're trying to be better.
This is where the show would be over.
We're really trying to be better. This is the kind of topic in the old days I'd put last because I'm like, well, when we have about an hour to kill, we'll just do this for an hour, and it won't be good. It won't be concise. Maybe there'll be some good bits, but I'm not gonna just pull those out. But you know, it's good. I hope that like LaMelo or somebody makes like a Yu Yu Hakusho line of Jordans or something. Those would probably be pretty fire, honestly. Trying to cop like the Hiei ones, Jordan?
Absolutely, with that colorway.
Those would be really fire. So fingers crossed that's where this goes. But damn, those would be crazy. Imagine they have like the dragon of the darkness flame like going along the sides.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
Get you some nice purple on there.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, maybe like a purple
which
trim.
I think is like the only colorway the ones aren't available in.
Exactly. Nice like purple trim. Maybe like the soles are purple too. I'm not sure. You know, kind of like let the design team get in on this, but yeah. So that's happening. Anything else important happen in the world of basketball? Not really. LeBron signed an extension today, like 10 minutes before we started recording today. So. We want to touch it on a little bit because I don't know. I like talking about basketball, not just when it comes to anime, also just basketball in general. We're kind of, by the way, if you've tuned out, we're back to sports. We've come all the way around. We've shown willpower. We've shown an incredible amount of restraint, and we've come all the way back around to sports world. And LeBron signed an extension today, which is pretty significant because of all the things this does, by the way, he signed a 2-year extension today, so he will be he'll have him and Anthony Davis now both will have player options in the 2024 to 2025 season. The extension is worth 2 years, $97 million. It can go up to like 111 with a player when the salary cap goes up. LeBron is now the highest earning player of all time. Apparently Durant had overtaken him for that, and now he's overtaken Durant. So there's for LeBron, and it creates about $20 million in cap right now, I think. It now gives them some cap space, which I don't really know what they can do with that space. But more importantly, next offseason, the 2023 offseason, the Lakers will now have another max slot. With the Russell Westbrook contract expiring and literally every other contract on their books expiring besides Taylor Horton-Tucker and something called Max Christie. And Taylor Horton-Tucker is a team option. No, it should be a player option. But either way, they'll have max cap space next offseason. And if anything, I think what this does is that now I could understand if, like, the Lakers have been a little bit hesitant to, like, trade whatever remaining assets they have because of the fact that LeBron was not under contract at all for next season and hadn't signed an extension and, you know, didn't seem like he really wanted to. But now that LeBron has, I think, if anything, this at least, like, whatever hesitation there was, whatever reticence there was in the Lakers front office to trade, like, you know, the 2048 first-round pick and 2055 second-round pick and, like, ticket on the rocket ship to Mars that they had left, they now... If I were them, I wouldn't be hesitating with now. I like, at this point, like, you can go all in, at least knowing that you have him next offseason when you can maybe sign somebody, and probably will be able to sign somebody because they are the Lakers and they can fail their way in the superstars, and that's just the way the world is. But, like, if they were hesitant to, like, use the 2029 first, which is not a joke, that's a real one that they can trade. You know, if they're willing to trade, like, the fifth grader as, like, something to grease the wheels and, like, a Kyrie for Westbrook kind of swap, kind of dealio. Now they can do that. Now they can just sign somebody. So good news today. Good news today if you're the Lakers. I mean, I never really thought LeBron was going to leave the Lakers for anything shy of, like, a 1-year retirement tour with Bronny. Like, if that's a real thing, which I don't even know if that is a real thing, maybe it is. But because while there are, like, plenty of basketball destinations that make a lot more sense for LeBron, I just can't imagine, like, LeBron leaving LA, because clearly LeBron went to LA not for basketball reasons, like, purely because he went there when they had, like, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo, and the boys when they were, like, all children, and it wasn't really working out. And they weren't a great team, but he made it, well, A, because they had the assets to trade for Anthony Davis, so that all resolved itself, but also because LeBron just clearly just wants to be in LA, wants to do famous people stuff, like make Space Jam 3, do other things. I just can't really see LeBron leaving LA to go play for, like, the Grizzlies or something, even though, again, that would probably be better basketball-wise. But now the Lakers at least can operate knowing. So I don't know, Jordan. You have any thoughts on how this affects LeBron's legacy?
I wanted to make a correction. You said that the Lakers will have $20 million in cap space, but I would like to infer that they will have $67 million in cap space once they drop that Russell Westbrook contract, because that thing that's priority number one now. Oh,
I'm saying they have it right now. Like, right now, I believe they have, because somehow extending him creates money. God knows I don't know how it actually works. Next offseason, Russell Westbrook's contract just ends, and they're going to have a lot
They can't do another year of that.
Oh, they might have to this season.
It was simply intolerable to watch.
If you actually want to have the Russell Westbrook Lakers conversation, I'm still of the mind that if they cannot flip him for, like, either Kyrie or, like, somebody else's bad contracts that might fit a little bit better, at this point, the Lakers' only scenario where maybe they can contend is, well, A, it's LeBron and AD being healthy, because I think we're really downplaying the Lakers a little bit, because, like, if LeBron and AD are healthy, like, anything's possible. But
I mean, AD's never healthy, and LeBron's kind of old. He can't play a full season.
But like, if they're both healthy, like then that at least if they're both like at full tilt by like when it matters. Like a team, you have as good a shot as anybody just because those are two. Like when both those guys are healthy, they can play like top 5 players. But
which I hate to say, but LeBron's 38 now. He can't.
Also led the league in scoring last year, though.
He needs some load management. You know?
Oh, listen, he played 56 games last year, but also either led the league in scoring but he averaged 30.3 points per game last year. He set a career high in points per game, Jordan. No, excuse me. Second best year points per game last year. Like, but
oh no, dude can still play. No, he's playing the best basketball he's ever played. But I don't think he's physically able to play a full 82 games, and I think he'd tell you that.
Yeah, which doesn't even matter, right? Because if he plays 40 games with healthy for the playoffs, who cares? But the only way the Lakers, like with just how barren their roster is, the only good scenario for the Lakers is like a scenario where like Westbrook plays and they somehow like fit the square peg into a round hole and somehow find a way to make it work, which includes like Russell Westbrook having like a complete shift in mentality and approach to the game of basketball and approach to his own ego.
Has to have a massive ego death in year 16.
Exactly. That needs to happen. But otherwise, this Lakers team just Russell Westbrook just like being given the John Wall treatment and being told to go home can't get it done. Just I don't see it. So
I mean, it's a better option than making him trying to play and then
I disagree. Again,
having everything ruined.
I just still say like that, like for them to have the ceiling that they want to have, they need to like at least like entertain or trade him again. Maybe now they feel better, and whenever the net situation gets resolved, they can then like turn around and like flip him for a Kyrie thing and like send picks and feel better about it. But
why would the Nets ever?
Why
would any team take Russell Westbrook?
Because
they're not actively taking.
Well, because then for the Nets specifically, because you're getting out of like the extra years of the Kyrie deal. Westbrook's contract is done next year. You get a pick, you get whatever, and then you can just say, Russell Westbrook, just go home. You're John Wall for us now, or we'll buy you out or whatever. We just traded for you as like a bookkeeping mechanism and to get some like picks. That Russell Westbrook, again, if anything, he's a $47 million expiring contract. If anything, to any other team but the Lakers, Russell Westbrook is like a mechanism to get out from a variety of bad contracts. That being said, if I'm the Lakers, I almost don't do it. I almost don't do any kind of Russell Westbrook move because now knowing that they can have max cap space next offseason, they should be patient, which they were not when they traded for Russell Westbrook, when they really shouldn't have. They should not have done that. It was a bad idea from the
perfectly fine.
It was a bad idea from the start. They traded role players that fit just fine, but they had to do it. They had to get the star. I don't know what it is. It's a Lakers thing. It's a LeBron thing. I don't know. They had to do it. It was always a square peg in a round hole, and that square peg did not fit into the round hole. And now they would kind of be punting on this year, but I think the Lakers with a max caps, with a max slot, with LeBron, with Anthony Davis, big threat in free agency. No matter what they do this year, if they are the 8th seed, if they are a play-in team this year and lose in the play-in, I still think that like the Lakers with LeBron and AD and a max cap slot, like they can get somebody. I know that's always the Lakers thing. Lakers people will always tell you that, but I believe it. So I think like investing it now and getting like a Kyrie and locking yourself in and dealing with that nonsense. Maybe just I don't want to say punt on this year. I say still maybe just try and bear with the Westbrook thing for one more year, or John Wall him.
He cannot play anymore.
If you really want to John Wall him, you really want to.
John Wall can still play somewhat. Russell Westbrook, he has absolutely almost nothing of any appreciable value left.
You see, I still think Russell Westbrook could make a bad team an 8 seed still, but I think the problem is Russell Westbrook. But you see, the problem is Russell Westbrook can also make a good team, like a contending team, an 8 seed. Russell Westbrook,
he's like the Big Ben of the NBA.
Kind of, in a way. He can make you just good enough to not be bad, but my God, does he cap your ceiling? My God, does he put a No, that doesn't make sense. That would up your ceiling. He puts whatever blocks the ceiling over a ceiling, like another ceiling. Yeah, you get it. You know what I'm saying. Yeah,
I get.
Yeah.
I'm picking.
Yeah.
Putting
These are my building metaphors, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Good for the Lakers. I mean, So now next offseason, inevitably, like somebody will go there, and it'll be annoying, and LeBron will win and get what he wants, and won't have to suffer for the bad choices him and his team have made, and that's just that. Buddy got a big contract, so God bless him. Good for LeBron. I don't. Or they'll all be healthy and they'll all get along. Again, maybe tomorrow Russell Westbrook wakes up and realizes that he has to just change who he is entirely. It could happen. There could be the complete ego death.
I mean,
it could.
If that does happen, then the Lakers they're in business.
They're in a better slot. They still don't like their role players. They still don't like the way they've constructed the team. It feels really, really easy to build a team around LeBron. It feels like the formula is really obvious and really there, and the Lakers have just absolutely completely avoided doing it. For whatever reason, they're like, no, we don't want to bring in just dudes who can shoot and play defense around LeBron. That's too hard. That's silly. We're going to bring in ball dominant stopper point guards who can't shoot and sign more of those guys and then sign more of those guys and do nothing else. And that's our plan. And this will work out for us. And everybody's on board with it. And yeah, I don't know. I think that's about enough for today, though, Jordan. Any closing thoughts for the good people at home?
No. Shout out to LeBron. That was man's getting paid. Space Jam 3 is in pre-production.
Is it actually?
I don't know.
No.
He's in multiverses, though.
He is. You can play as him in Multiverse. He is, in fact, a fighting game character. He is now a property of the Warner Brothers company. LeBron is now a property of Time Warner. So,
La Frame Trap.
La Edge Guard. Go finally answer the question of who would win in a 1v1, the classic debate we've all been having for really what feels like almost decades now of who's stronger, who's better, who's a better winner, LeBron or Shaggy. Go find out. And again, follow the Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube channel that I haven't made yet. Next week, as long as this all works out, we don't have any audio editing snafus, I'll be able to give you those. Able to give you those accounts. So wait for those. We'll see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.